Howdy, I'm Big Juicy, and I'm here in Aurora, Texas, where a mysterious airship crashed 125 years ago. Was this the dawn of aviation history, or a visitor from Mars? The truth is out there. Before the American Civil War, early settlers were drawn to this high spot on the Texas plains, surrounded by the beauty of live oaks and mesquite trees. William Stanfield was amongst those first settlers and suggested that they name this beautiful town after the Roman goddess of the dawn, Aurora. He said this would be the dawning of a new life for the citizens of the town. Well, the first 20 years went pretty well. The town grew to a population of 3,000, with 2 schools, 2 cotton gins, 2 hotels, and 6 saloons. Things were going great, but in the late 1800s, the town was hit with a spotted fever epidemic that decimated the population and caused many to flee out of fear to nearby Rome. Then, a year later or so, the railroad bypassed the town, and many of the remaining citizens followed suit. But it's always darkest just before the dawn, right? In April of 1897, Aurora resident S.E. Hayden submitted a story to the Dallas Morning News. It detailed how a mysterious airship suddenly appeared above the town early that morning and started making a slow descent due to mechanical problems. The airship crashed into Judge Proctor's windmill, causing a great explosion, which destroyed the windmill, the water tank, and even the judge's beloved flower garden. The pilot's remains were badly disfigured, but you could tell he was not from this world. T.J. Weems, a local authority in astrology and follower of Roman mythology, believed the pilot to be a Martian. Mr. Weems saw a narrative of mythological proportions playing out before them. According to the Romans, Aurora's beauty caused the war god Mars to take interest in her. This angered his wife, the love goddess Venus, and she became jealous and angry. She used her powers to make Aurora fall in love with a number of lowly mortals. Remember that the citizens of Aurora had fled to Rome. In Latin, Rome is Roma, and Roma backwards is amor, which means love. Rome is the perfect reflection of love. In Venus's jealousy, she had punished Aurora by taking her citizens. So following this logic, it's clear that Mars sent one of his own to rescue his mistress. But he failed in his mission and destroyed a beautiful flower garden along the way. The pilot's body was given a funeral at noon the next day. The Martian was buried in the town cemetery, and the airship remains, they were dumped in a well next to Judge Proctor's windmill wreckage. In 1935, Proctor's property was purchased by BRAWLEY OATS, who cleaned out the well and used it for water. He developed a severe case of arthritis, which he thought was from the contaminated water. He sealed the well up in 1945. He is also buried in the cemetery. All of this sounded like a hoax or a funny joke to most people. However, there's one peculiar thing to point out in the article. Hayden's story is about the airship which has been sailing through the country. Turns out there had been hundreds of sightings of mysterious airships throughout the Midwest and at least a dozen in Texas alone. In the 3 days leading up to the Aurora crash, the airship was seen in Weatherford, Corsicana, Crescent, Waxahachie, Stephenville, Granbury, Austin, and even Fort Worth. The Fort Worth newspapers were slow on reporting the sightings because they were dealing with the aftermath of the H.H. Holmes murder castle. You can check out Big Juicy Tidbit number 8 for more on that story. The Dallas Morning News, however, had 4 columns of articles related to mysterious airship sightings the same day as the Aurora crash. Well, some people thought it was the government testing weapons. Some thought it was the Spanish planning an attack. After all, the U.S. would be at war with Spain within the next year. Some heard people singing hymns and dropping temperance tracts on the ground. Some say the pilot identified himself as a Mr. Wilson from Fort Worth. All of this seems so strange. Were there really mysterious airships flying the American skies 6 years before the Wright brothers would fly at Kitty Hawk? Were they of this world, or were they from Mars? In 1973, a group of experts from the newly formed Mutual UFO Network, or MUFON, traveled to Aurora looking for answers. They found evidence of metal in the alien's grave and requested permission to exhume the body. The request was denied because the next of kin could not be notified. We don't have postal service to Mars yet. Things cooled down in the town of Aurora. Time marched on, and the story was all but forgotten. That is, until 1986, when the classic film Aurora Encounter came out. The film is masterfully directed by the great Jim McCullough Sr., who is known for blockbuster hits like Mountaintop Motel Massacre, Video Murders, and Nacho Chihuahua. The film is a sci-fi western movie based on the Aurora crash and is described as a low-budget E.T. Goes West. After the movie, the town started to embrace their eclectic past. Tourists started traveling all the way out here to see the alien grave or take pictures in front of the historical marker. As more people started working from home, folks are once again drawn to Aurora for her beauty, and the population is growing once again. Who knows? This may be the dawning of a new life for the citizens of Aurora. I'm Big Juicy, and this has been Big Juicy Tidbit number 11. Please subscribe to my channel to receive updates when new videos are posted. Also, visit my website at bigjuicytidbits.com to see additional content for each video. Remember, some people make history, and some people make up history. Until next time, keep it juicy.